My husband forced me to do this with two young girls. My name is Michelle. Now I'm 35 years old. In today's episode, I will share what I experienced, that night that was really different from ordinary ones, with many chaotic emotions in me when I directly witnessed my husband making intimate gestures with two other beautiful young girls. But before we start, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Love 30K Stories. Your support means the world to us. All right, back to my story. It began as a conversation that I never imagined would progress. One evening in autumn, over dinner, my husband, with that humorous gleam in his eyes and his customary interest, raised the subject. Since we frequently engaged in light-hearted banter, I initially assumed he was kidding, but there was something unusual about the way he looked at me, something sincere. His voice lowered as he moved closer and stated bluntly, "Michelle, I want you to see me with two girls." I recall the moment so clearly, when my heart suddenly skipped a beat, leaving me uncertain about how to react. It wasn't something I had ever envisioned occurring in our marriage, but the way he expressed it, his tone so soft and filled with longing, stopped me in my tracks for a moment. His words hung in the air between us, a mix of excitement and hesitation swirling in my thoughts. Even though I was caught off guard at first, I could feel a strange curiosity starting to stir within me, despite my initial shock. As days went by, the idea began to take root in my mind, slowly transforming into something more than just an idle, fleeting thought. My husband was patient throughout the whole process, never once pressuring me, always allowing me to grapple with the idea at my own pace. But with every conversation we had about it, the intensity in his eyes seemed to grow, and little by little I began to look at the possibility in a completely different way. What would it actually feel like if we followed through? Was it something that could truly happen? And, perhaps most importantly, could I bring myself to let go, to fully embrace something so unfamiliar, so unlike anything I had ever experienced before? I often caught myself lost in thoughts, imagining the possibilities that seemed to occur. Each time the scenarios played out in my mind, they became clearer and more detailed, almost as if I could see them happening in real time. My heart would race in anticipation, and although I never spoke of it aloud, I could feel the intrigue building inside me. There was this part of me, deep down, that was curious about the idea of watching my husband with someone else, and, as it turned out, to someone else. The very thought of it awakened something within me, something I hadn't even realized was there, a desire I hadn't recognized until now. One evening, as we lay in bed together, the air thick with unspoken thoughts, I turned to him, my heart pounding in my chest, almost as if it was preparing me for the moment that was about to unfold. I offered him a gentle smile, the kind that conveyed both reassurance and excitement, and replied, "Okay." His eyes widened in surprise, and, for a brief moment, I saw a flicker of disbelief pass over his face, quickly replaced by an overwhelming surge of unfiltered excitement. Over the next few nights, we spent hours talking about it, going over every little detail and every potential boundary, making sure we were both on the same page and comfortable with what was to come. Then he told me about two women he had met, both of whom were intrigued by the idea and open to the possibility of joining us, making it all feel that much more real. His eagerness was audible in his voice, and oddly enough, it only reinforced my confidence in the decision I had made. When the night finally arrived, I was undeniably nervous, of course. My heart raced as I prepared, with every brush of my hand against my skin feeling more sensitive than usual. I could sense the anticipation building inside me. Yet there was also a comforting calm that had settled over me. I trusted him completely, and I knew this was an experience we were both stepping into together, hand in hand, ready to embrace whatever came next. The room was softly illuminated when the two women arrived, beautiful, confident, and exuding grace. They greeted me warmly, their eyes kind yet filled with an unspoken understanding of what was about to unfold. We hugged and bowed before stepping into the pool. My husband stood near me, his hand resting gently on my lower back, providing a silent reassurance that we were in this together. I could sense the eagerness pouring from him, and I realized this was something he had longed for deeply. We engaged in conversation for a while, the four of us gradually easing into the evening, allowing the tension to build slowly and naturally. There was no rush, no pressure at all, just an unspoken agreement among us that we would all move forward at our own pace, savoring each moment as it came. End of section 16. The two women were absolutely charming, their laughter filling the room with warmth and lightness as we exchanged stories and sipped on glasses of wine. Slowly, I found myself relaxing in their presence, the initial nerves that had gripped me melting away, replaced by a quiet but undeniable excitement that seemed to hum just beneath the surface, waiting to make itself known. Eriko said one day. As the evening wore on, the conversation gradually shifted, and I could feel the atmosphere subtly change around us as playful flirting began to emerge. My husband, naturally, was at the heart of it all, his charm effortlessly drawing the two women closer, their eyes fixed on him with interest. I observed them, feeling an unusual mix of emotions stirring within me, a sense of excitement, deep curiosity, and something else I couldn't fully identify. But one thing I knew for certain: it wasn't jealousy. It was something far more profound. A sense of liberation, of allowing him the freedom to explore this side of himself. And in doing so, I realized I was also uncovering something new about myself, something unexpected. When the first kiss occurred, it was slow and timid, almost as if they were both testing the waters. One of the women leaned in, her lips brushing softly against his, and I held my breath, watching every second of it. My heart raced in my chest, pounding with an intensity that matched the growing tension in the room. I took in the scene before me, his hand gently cupping her face, his lips moving in sync with hers, in a slow, deliberate rhythm. The other woman stood nearby, watching closely, her gaze flicking between them and me as if she were trying to gauge my reaction. But I couldn't bring myself to look away. I didn't want to. There was something utterly captivating about the scene unfolding in front of me, something that seemed to pull me deeper, drawing me in further with every passing second. As the kiss continued, it grew more heated, more intense, and before long the second woman leaned in as well, her lips finding his with equal passion. The three of them were now completely immersed in the moment, a seamless connection between them. I stood there, watching, feeling my own body respond in kind, a warmth rising in my chest, slowly spreading lower, deeper, with each breath I took. My husband's eyes briefly locked with mine as he looked at me, and I could see in those eyes his yearning for me to be there, to be a part of this, to witness everything that was unfolding. Without a word, I stepped closer, settling on the edge of the bed, my heart thundering in my chest as I watched the scene before me. His hands moved with purpose, exploring their bodies, caressing their skin, while the three of them moved together in a slow, sensual rhythm that seemed to build and intensify with every passing second. The room itself seemed to pulse with the rising tension, the air thick with desire and anticipation. The women kissed him deeply, their hands gliding over his chest, down his arms, their movements becoming more confident, more deliberate, more insistent as the moments passed. After that, one of the women turned to face me, her gaze locking with mine in an unspoken understanding. She smiled, a soft, inviting smile, her eyes filled with something almost magnetic, and she extended her hand toward me. Without even thinking, I reached out and took it, letting her gently guide me closer until I was right there with them, fully immersed in the moment. Her lips found mine then, soft and tender, a kiss that was both gentle and brimming with promise, a connection that felt deep and intimate. I allowed myself to sink into it, feeling the warmth of her body against mine, the softness of her skin under my fingertips. As I lost myself in the kiss, the other woman leaned in as well, her hand coming to rest lightly on my thigh, her touch soft yet filled with purpose, as though everything was falling into place. My husband observed us intently, his eyes dark with desire, as the three of us moved together, our lips and hands discovering each other's bodies with a sense of urgency. I could feel his gaze on me, and it only amplified the intensity of the moment, knowing that this was exactly what he had wanted, what we had both agreed to share and experience together. The night stretched on endlessly, with each kiss and each touch building the tension between us until it felt almost unbearable. My husband's hands were everywhere, his kisses alternating between the two women and me, as we all intertwined in a beautiful tangle of limbs and soft sighs. The feelings were utterly overwhelming, each touch sending delightful shivers down my spine, making my breath catch in my throat. We took our time to explore each other slowly and deliberately, savoring every moment, every inch of skin, and every soft moan that escaped our lips in the heat of the moment. The intensity grew exponentially, the passion building to a point where it felt as if time had come to a standstill, where nothing else existed outside that room. My husband was the focal point of it all, his hands, his lips, and his body shifting gracefully between us, uniting us in a shared experience that felt both deeply intimate and liberating, allowing us to embrace the freedom of the moment. Afterward, as the night reached its exhilarating peak, the strain eventually subsided in a way that felt almost electric. I gasped, my body trembling with release as I saw my husband with the two women, their bodies entwined in a dance of intimacy, their soft moans filling the room with an intimate rhythmic sound. It was a beautiful and sensual sight, and for a fleeting moment, I felt completely weightless, utterly lost in the pleasure of the experience. We lay there afterward, the four of us entangled together, our bodies still intertwined, our breaths coming in soft, even waves that created a soothing rhythm. My husband held me close, his strong arms wrapped around me protectively, while his lips pressed gentle kisses to my forehead, each one a tender reassurance. The two women lay beside us, their hands resting lightly on my skin, their presence still warm and comforting, adding to the feeling of safety and connection that enveloped us all in that serene moment. I smiled as a wave of profound satisfaction passed over me. I never imagined that I would have this experience, or that I would be able to do it. However, as I lay here in the afterglow, I became aware that I had explored something new about my husband, myself, and our marriage. The evening had been more than simply a passionate deed. It had been a journey and a shared experience that strengthened our already strong bond. I felt more alive than I had in years, a vibrant energy coursing through me, and I knew deep in my bones that this was only the beginning of something extraordinary, something fresh, something beautiful, something that we could both explore together in our own time, on our own terms. As I fell asleep, my husband's arms still wrapped around me in a tender embrace, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace settle over me, knowing we had just opened a new chapter in our lives. It was a chapter filled with endless possibilities, with new adventures waiting to be experienced, and, above all, with love that was deeper and more expansive than I had ever known. The two women, who had been such an essential part of this intimate experience, remained close by, their presence lingering softly in the room as a constant, gentle reminder of the incredible bond we had all shared together, something truly unique, something we would carry with us. My husband's arms remained encircling around me tightly, his touch warm and reassuring in a way that made me feel safe and cherished. I could feel his heartbeat against my back, steady and comforting, a rhythmic reminder of his presence. I reached out, my fingers lightly brushing against the arm of one of the women beside us. She turned to me, her eyes soft and filled with a quiet affection that perfectly mirrored my own feelings. I leaned in closer, pressing a tender kiss to her lips, feeling the warmth of her enthusiastic response. She smiled at me, her fingers trailing lightly down my arm, a silent acknowledgement of the shared intimacy we had all experienced together. The other woman, equally graceful and gentle in her demeanor, moved closer as well. Her lips found mine in a kiss that was both tender and exploratory, a beautiful reflection of the connection we had built during the evening. My husband's hands rested on both of us, guiding us with a loving touch that spoke volumes about his deep care and desire for both of us. As we kissed, the room seemed to grow warmer, the air thick with a palpable sense of affection and desire that enveloped us. We explored each other's bodies with newfound freedom and confidence, the kisses becoming more passionate and the touches more intimate as the moment unfolded. There was no hurry, no pressing need, just a gradual and intentional awakening of desire and connection. My husband's hands roamed freely, moving between us with a tender precision that made every touch and kiss feel like a treasured offering. He leaned in to kiss me, his lips lingering softly on mine, his breath warm and inviting. The women's hands glided over my skin, their touches a perfect blend of gentleness and confidence. Their lips traced delicate paths along my neck and shoulders, sending waves of shivers through me. We moved as one, our bodies closely entwined, exploring each other with a mutual feeling of wonder. The kisses deepened, growing more passionate, as we surrendered completely to the moment. My husband's hands led us with a balance of tenderness and authority, his kisses sparking a fire within me that grew more intense with each moment. The passion between us was undeniable, the connection deeply intimate. Every kiss and every touch reflected the love and trust we had nurtured over the years. The room echoed with soft moans and murmured words of affection, our bodies shifting together in a rhythm that felt both instinctive and thrilling. In the gentle glow of the early morning, we lay entwined, our bodies still pressed closely together, sharing the warmth and closeness born of a profound night of love and intimacy. My husband's arms encircled me with a tender and soothing touch, a quiet reassurance that mirrored the depth of our bond. Beside us, the two women rested peacefully, their presence a beautiful reminder of the extraordinary journey we had ventured upon together, a shared experience that was far more than physical. I closed my eyes, savoring the deep sense of contentment and fulfillment that filled me, a feeling that seemed to envelop the room. The last night had transcended mere physicality, it had become a voyage of emotional discovery, a tapestry of connection, and a celebration of love in its most expansive form. Lying there, I felt an unspoken unity among us, a silent but powerful acknowledgement that this was not an ending but the start of something profoundly new. It was the opening of a fresh chapter in our lives, one filled with endless possibilities, boundless adventures, and, most importantly, an abiding love that would guide us forward. Even as the night stretched on and gave way to dawn, the connection we shared grew ever stronger, an unspoken harmony directing our every action and thought. We were completely lost in the breathtaking beauty of the moment, enveloped in a sense of intimacy that felt almost otherworldly. Each touch, each kiss, drew us closer together, creating an unbreakable bond that deepened with every shared experience. My husband's hands were still gentle, yet purposeful, as they explored the contours of our bodies, with a tender care that spoke volumes about his deep affection for both me and the women. His kisses were a delightful blend of passion and tenderness, each one lingering longer than the last, leaving me yearning for more. Each touch ignited a warmth that spread through me like wildfire, making my heart race with excitement. The two women, equally immersed in the experience, mirrored the intensity of our shared connection, their own desires intertwining with ours. They moved with graceful confidence, their hands and lips exploring with a mutual sense of desire that heightened the atmosphere, adding layers of richness to our collective journey of discovery. We kissed slowly and sensuously, gradually creating a rhythm that perfectly complemented the steady heartbeat of the night around us. We explored each other's bodies with a newfound sense of freedom, the boundaries we once knew dissolving seamlessly into a shared intimacy that felt both exhilarating and liberating. The warmth of the room enveloped us completely, our breaths mingling softly in the gentle, dim light that surrounded us. Every touch, every kiss, became a beautiful celebration of our deepening connection, a heartfelt testament to the trust and love we had nurtured and cultivated over the years. My husband's gaze met mine often, filled with a profound sense of satisfaction and love that made my heart swell. His touches were tender yet undeniably filled with passion, each movement reflecting his sincere desire to make this experience truly memorable for all of us involved. His hands roamed over my skin with a delicate exploration, his kisses moving from my lips to my neck, tracing a path of affection that left me breathless and longing for more, heightening the intensity of the moment we were sharing together. The two women, their presence seamlessly enhancing the harmony of our evening, responded with a tenderness that mirrored our own. Their caresses were gentle, their kisses imbued with warmth, weaving a dynamic of intimacy that felt at once thrilling and profoundly comforting. Together, we contributed to a shared experience that was uniquely ours, deeply satisfying and unlike anything before. We continued to explore one another, our movements synchronized in a graceful dance of affection and desire, each touch and gesture building upon the last. The kisses became more fervent, the touches more curious and adventurous, as we embraced the freedom and spontaneity of the moment. There was no urgency, no need to rush, only a slow, intentional journey of discovery as we delved into each other's desires and needs. As the night unfolded, the energy in the room evolved, growing more charged as the passion between us built steadily to a breathtaking crescendo. Immersed fully in the experience, we felt our bonds deepen with every kiss, every touch, and every shared moment of connection, creating a memory that would linger long after the night ended. The physical intimacy we shared was beautifully accompanied by an emotional closeness that made the moment feel even more profound and meaningful. When we finally reached the peak of our shared experience, the sense of unity and fulfillment among us was truly palpable, almost tangible in the air. We held each other close, our bodies entwined in a loving embrace that felt both protective and nurturing. The room was filled with a peaceful silence, a gentle reflection of the deep connection we had all experienced together. In the quiet that followed, we continued to hold each other tenderly, our breaths slowly returning to normal as we basked in the afterglow of our intimacy. The softness of the sheets beneath us and the warmth of our bodies created a cocoon of intimacy that was both comforting and serene, wrapping us in a sense of safety and tranquility that lingered in the air. Each moment felt suspended in time, allowing us to savor the depth of our connection and the joy of simply being together. My husband's arms were wrapped around me, his touch soft and reassuring, providing a sense of safety and warmth, while the two women rested peacefully beside us, their presence a comforting reminder of the beautiful journey we had all shared together. As the night gradually gave way to the soft light of early morning, we lay together, our hearts brimming with the love and connection we had experienced throughout the night. The sense of adventure and exploration we had embraced had brought us even closer, deepening our bond in ways we had never imagined possible. I felt a profound sense of peace and satisfaction, knowing that this experience had marked a new and exciting chapter in our lives, one filled with love, trust, and mutual respect for one another. We had shared something truly special, a unique experience that would always remain a cherished memory in our hearts. As we slowly drifted off to sleep, wrapped in each other's embrace, I knew that the love we had shared would continue to grow and flourish, nurturing our connection and guiding us through the many adventures that lay ahead of us in the future. Each moment felt like a promise of the beautiful journey that was still unfolding. We've reached the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found our content engaging, a thumbs up and sharing it with your loved ones would be much appreciated. Make sure to subscribe to Love 30,000 Stories and turn on the notification bell for updates on our latest videos. Your support is everything to us. Until next time, take care and goodbye.